we are honoured to welcome the recently crowned Elite Vodka World's Best Female Chef 2018, Clare Smyth.
Good morning. Nice to see everyone. Great to be here. This is Antonio, my beautiful assistant.
Hi everyone.
Antonio is our sous chef, stroke development chef, stroke everything at Core, our new restaurant. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit of a presentation to start with just about Core. Our session's called Birth, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about the birth of Core, a new restaurant. So for about 15 years of my life I spent working in 3-star Michelin restaurants, traditional background. The last 10 years heading up Gordon Ramsay's flagship restaurant. I was a partner with him. Very traditional style of cooking, beautiful ingredients, luxury, and I just had a burning desire to do something new, a new challenge for me, and it became Core. Core meaning my heart, the seed of something new. So we're 10 months old now. So just a little bit about the journey to start with. Let's see if we can get this to work. We can. Okay. So probably about 18 months ago, got the keys to my first premises, my first restaurant. Very special moment for me. We found a building that was built in 1861. It had lots of character, a Victorian building in Notting Hill in London. And this is it was a shell. It was a mess. We had to do so much work to the building. It was a disaster, but a great journey. So the front door, inside, lots of beautiful features. Beautiful building. So we had to do this to it. As we started to pull it apart, the foundations crumbled, the drains fell in. It got very, very delayed. So this was my first project. It was a big project to take on. And I started this from writing the business plan myself all the way through to going to the bank, concept, everything. So for someone that's a cook, to start to do this was a big challenge, but I'm so happy that I did it because now I know all the steps. I know everything can go wrong, and I also know probably next time I'll get someone to help me with it, and I'll focus on the food. So this is what the kitchen became. But so that was the building. So we started out with the building. Then, of course, the building comes the team, people. So the team, this was some of the people that had worked with me previously and who had joined us, Antonio there. And Core was all about people, relationships, people that joined me from Scandinavia, from Canada. Johnny, the head chef, people that had done stages with me over the years at Restaurant Gordon Ramsay, people that believed in me came to join me, and it was very important. Our front of house team as well. So the core people, the producers, the suppliers, the growers. So Ilted there is our charcuterie guy. We call everyone Guy, so vegetable guy, charcuterie guy, silver guy. And Core was all about being British as much as we could through to the core. So I really wondered why in my career we were using everything coming from France or French plates or buying brand names just so we could put them in our beautiful restaurant. And I really questioned everything before we opened. I thought, well, why can't we use British plates? Why can't we use British designers? We had a 300-year-old tradition of making the finest bone china in the world in Stoke-on-Trent. But when you go there now, there's huge unemployment, and this culture and traditions almost died out. So I was like, I'm going to have them make my plates. I'm going to use Sheffield steel. I'm going to use British wood guy. That's Patrick, who makes everything for us. There we've got Carol, she makes all the plates, designers. There's our beef growers. That's the guys making the cutlery. Our scallop guy, Guy Greaves, the ethical shellfish company. The millers that make our flour for our bread, Wessex Mill. That's the smallest miller in Britain, 5th generation family. Emily, she's 24 years old, she runs it now. And of course, all of the people. So Core was very much a project from the heart, from the beginning. Okay, and then that brings me to the dish that we're going to cook today. So this dish is, so we call it the lamb carrot. and it's a dish of habit. So in the kitchen, we, as chefs, cook and always steal the best bits of things. And for many years, obviously, we use vegetables or mirepoix when we do braises or sauces, and the vegetables flavor the stock and the meat, and often the vegetables discarded. But me, I would always steal the carrot from the pot and eat the carrot, and that was the best bit. And when we started Core, we really thought about all of these things, and obviously showing that we don't need to use luxury ingredients all the time to make a fantastic dish. We know we need to eat less meat and fish, and we need to eat more vegetables. So we take humble ingredients and try to use them in a way that to create something that is just as satisfying as something that can be very luxury. So this dish became one of the signature dishes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so people, well, let's start cooking. Antonio's going to start. So we're going to start braising the lamb neck to start with. So we've taken the neck of lamb, one of the most flavoursome cuts, but again, a humble cut. And Antonio, you can tell us what you're doing.
As chef would say, it's one of the signature dish, and it's one I really like, because when I was young, I didn't really like to eat vegetables, especially in a stew part. But when you grow up and you start to understand a bit of the value of the vegetable itself, you understand how much flavor is in a carrot, as much sweetness as well. And it's really good. What we do at the moment, we seal the lamb neck, which is one of the part of the animal where not many people they use, because it's like everyone look for important part, like the rack, or they look for the rack or for the shoulder, but actually the fat in the neck is quite good for slow cooking. It's get really succulent.
So this dish was something that we started off with, and I actually was serving it as the main course on our tasting menu, trying to change people's ideas about, what is good to eat, and that actually you can have this as a main dish on the meal. Everyone thought it was crazy. Everyone thought I had lost it. They were used to the way I'd cooked before. But we stuck to it, and it's amazing how these dishes now have become the signatures, and people are the most surprised by them. Our other signature dish is a potato. I'm Irish, so it's something I grew up eating every day. But it's the humble ingredients I find the most flavor. So this is basically, I think, most people knowing to cook. We're going to just color this off. We're going to add the vegetables and make a braise to start the process. And then we're going to take the carrots, which are an English bunched carrot, which we grow in one of our farms in Sussex. Antonio, you can start doing that. And just explain what's happening there.
Basically, what we like about the carrot is the beauty of all the herbs. And again, what we try to do, the producer put a lot of time and effort to get a really good carrot. We don't want to waste anything. With the main part, which is the part of our dish, we're gonna cut the bottom. We're gonna shape like a really nice carrot.
So on the dish, obviously, we use everything. Again, so we're going to use the tops of the carrots. So it's everything to do with the lamb and the carrot. So on this braise, we're going to keep the sauce, and we're going to cook the carrot in the sauce. So we do it all separately. It's quite a long process, dish start to finish. Obviously, we're doing a quick version of it today. So yeah, we just color the meat and the vegetables. We'll add the stock, and we'll let that braise down. Okay? Then afterwards, once the lamb is braised, we're gonna take off the sauce. Take the lamb, pull the lamb apart, and we're obviously going to use that. And then we'll take the sauce, put the carrot, and we used to use vacuum bags to cook the carrot and to keep everything in. And they cook for about 45 minutes with a little bit of rosemary. On the lamb, we're also using parts of the lamb fat. So we'll render down all the fat from the lamb. We make it all crispy. And we use that, chop it, and we're going to do a lamb bun, which we're going to show you in a minute as well. And we also use the lamb fat to confit some other little slices of carrots, which are here. Yep, let's show them what you're doing.
Yeah, basically, what we try to recreate is the carrot cooked in a stew, but in a bag. We recreate like a poaching technique, and we give a nice shape to the carrot. We put rosemary, we put a bit of stock, and we let it cook for 2 hours at 80 degrees. That is nice and tender, but still have a bit of bite into it.
Yeah, so we're going to cook the carrot all the way through as if you would do in a stew, really.
Yeah. Obviously, after we sous vide and we slow cook, and I'll just say.
Cool. And then the next thing we'll do from that point is we're going to take all the carrot tops. We make a pesto for the dish because there's so much flavor and freshness in the carrot tops. Also, the dish is very rich. It's got lots of fat and a braising in it. So we want to cut that fat and balance the acidity of the dish.
Again, because we are chef and we don't like waste anything, we use the top of the carrot with a bit of chervil, a bit of basil. I'm Italian, I cannot miss basil in pesto.
And a little bit of olive oil and Barolo vinegar. And we just crush that up. Maybe you can talk about the sheep's milk yogurt as well that we make.
Yeah, another things we do with this dish, because we try to use everything from the sheep, we use sheep yogurt to cut a bit of the fattiness of the dish itself. We take sheep milk, a bit of cow milk, a bit of original yogurt, and we let fermenting for 12 hours, 40 degrees. What we do, we create our own yogurt, and we serve with the pesto and the carrots.
So this dish also, it's like a rustic, humble sort of dish or a stew. Again, going back to my roots growing up in Ireland, we'd obviously have an Irish stew. And it's but one of the things about the stew, or one of the original things, was you would have a dumpling as well. So with this, we've got a Parker House style bread, which is actually the original Dutch stew dumpling, which we're going to make as well with the lamb fat. And we're going to serve that with the stew, which Antonio likes to call, what do you call it? Scarpetta?
Scarpetta, yes,
For
definitely.
the Italians. Where's the lamb buns? They're in there?
Yeah.
Always pop them in. And we can do the demonstration of the door opening in the oven. Go on. Where are they? Pop them in. Okay, cool. So that was the pesto. And then we've got the sheep's milk yogurt, which is here. So this is the one that Antonio is making. We make this obviously in advance because it takes some time, as we've said. And then we've got the next part of the dish, which is the bun, or the lamb bun we call it. So we make it with 50% of it lamb fat. We put some peppers in there, smoked salt.
Yeah, basically what we recreate is when you eat a stew, we cannot miss bread. It's typical things like you want to eat all the sauce that is around that you cook with. And we created this bread, this brioche bun. Instead of put butter or olive oil, we put the lamb fat. We make even more lamby flavor. We use a vanciferi pepper, which is a type of pepper which is really floral. It's go very well with the really strong flavor of the lamb. We make this bone. After, we stuff with the lamb neck. We sprinkle down. We have our bowl, put in the middle. We do like a small dumpling, but an English version. And we let prove for half an hour. After it's proved, it gets brushed with egg yolk, just to give a really nice and shiny color. It gets sprinkled with lamb fat, which is the back of the lamb. It gets really crispy and really succulent, as I will say.
Yep. So that's the crispy lamb fat, as we talked about earlier. So literally we're using absolutely everything in the dish. So obviously we've flaked off the meat, which we're going to serve back on top of the carrot again. Then all the trimmings is going into these lamb buns, and more of the rest of the fat is also through the meat, and then the crispy fat goes back on the top.
Basically, we don't waste anything. We try to use everything from in this dish, especially from the carrot and from the lamb meat.
Yeah. So they basically, how long do they get cooked for?
This for 20 minutes. We do the first 10 minutes. After we brush again with egg yolk just to give a really nice and shiny color. We put back in the oven. We finish the cooking. After we serve with the dish, and the customer just feel happy, feel at home. Just dip the bread in the sauce, and it's the most good things to have is when you go to a restaurant and you feel confident to stay at home and actually do scarpetta, what we say in Italy. We just clean the plate with the bread.
So one of the things that we have with Core when we opened, typically fine dining restaurants, often, certainly in Britain and the UK, people were kind of turning towards more casual dining because they feel that it's intimidating dining in fine dining restaurants, that they were somewhat stiff. So what we really wanted to do was break down all the barriers from fine dining and make people feel at home. So we call it informal luxury. So we stripped away a lot of the things that would intimidate people about dining. So I knocked the kitchen wall down so that we could see our guests. We got rid of dress codes, all of the formalities. I put my own playlist on the restaurant, which was quite an amusing thing. Not to everyone's taste, but it's my home. But people love it, as we get great feedback from it. And the restaurant very much is a home feel. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of, we've many regulars. It's a very comfortable environment for people to dine, and the most important thing is for people to feel like home. Okay, so we're almost ready to go.
Yes, basically the result of the lamb bun or the park house is this. It's like I'm really fast in proving, cooking.
Okay, so the lamb carrot, basically. Obviously, we've sped up a lot of the processes of this, but the carrot's absorbed in the cooking sack all of the flavors from the braised lamb neck. And now we're just going to start to put it all together. Have you got a tray for me?
Yeah.
And this is also, hopefully, shortly you're going to be able to taste some of those lamb buns that are going to come out. Yep. So first of all, on the plate, we're going to put the yogurt. So we've got the sheep's milk yogurt. So these plates these are all designed for the restaurant. It's going to be copper and green, cooking in nature, coming together. We wanted to create like a little oasis in London. I've warmed them up in there as well. Where people could feel a calm environment. So that's our sheep's milk yogurt. This is the pesto. coming around using all of the tops of the carrots. And this puts acidity. As we say, there's a lot of fat in this dish, and it's actually, although it's a vegetable dish, it's really quite rich. We're going to put the crispy lamb fat back onto the top for texture. Okay. And then we're also using, again, the tops of the carrots raw, which Antonio's just going to pick there. And these small slices of carrots have just been confit again in lamb fat. Okay. And then all of the rest of the sauce we reduce it down. Yet again, we'll liaise it with more lamb fat to enrich the sauce. Let's get this hot. This is really nice stove here. And we'll put the lamb bun.
Yeah.
So a lot of our dishes are kind of like this. We're thinking a lot about nostalgia, think a lot about how we eat, and think a lot about, just the simplicity and also how we can change people's perspectives about dining. Because for me, I always thought, why is a piece of asparagus more valued than a potato or a turbot, or we consider it to be more delicious? In fact, it doesn't have to be more delicious. We as chefs use our talent and our knowledge to create something super delicious for something that's very, very humble. And I think this is very much the cooking of today, that we need to use our skills and our knowledge as chef to change the way that we eat and to educate the public about it. And in fine dining restaurants, we can be at the forefront of this. It doesn't need to be turbot and fillet of beef and luxury ingredients. Okay, and that's the lamb sauce. And that's the dish. So that's it. So that's the, we just call it the lamb carrot. So the idea is we'll pour quite a bit of the sauce on there and they eat it, and then they're going to take the lamb bun. And then the lamb bun, there's the braised meat as well, which is that little secret, the little tasty bit, and they'll just mop up everything afterwards, like you would do at home. Not licking the plate again. Thank you.